Tormentum Dark Sorrow is quite the interesting point-and-click adventure game, and worth discussing for both what it is, and also its mindless portrayal of ethics. This game is weird and beautiful, with puzzles that are not the hardest, but also not stupidly easy. Most of the time. If anything you are seeing on screen interests you at all, and you are willing to play point-and-click adventure games, please pick this game up. But enough praising, this series is called Let's Talk Shit, so shit talking is what we're gonna do. I still quite like this game, but the moral dilemmas in this game are actually stupid. It's either the devs being not very intelligent and just not understanding the complexity of the topics that they are bringing up, or they're being very shallow on purpose in order to keep their game open to the largest audience possible, and the latter of those two options is the worst of the two. From the very first line in the game, we know we did something wrong, and we are paying for it through all of the crazy shit happening. Now, the gross and forced morality shows it pretty early, but you really don't understand the issue because the mystery obfuscates the message of the game. But once you know the ending, this all becomes painfully clear. Spoiler warning, but to be fair, the game is much easier to swallow when you know the plot twist is coming, because just screaming fuck you towards your computer is not as healthy as attempting to piece the logic together while you're playing it. So God comes down and tells you that you killed your significant other and then yourself. Why? Who knows, but I'm got it. I'm not happy with that. This causes a lot of problems. First being slut-shaming all of those suicides, which depending on your own personal philosophies and ethics is either preaching to the choir or extremely aggravating. Not going to go into detail about that, but know that without the context of him killing his significant other and then himself, nothing can be evaluated except against one's own ethical values, and even if you do agree, being that preachy is always annoying. This whole thing leads us back to how they come to deciding whether or not you have redeemed yourself. Generically, the point is to be a good person during the trial, and sometimes what we are expected to do is not always the correct thing to do when viewing it from different perspectives. Some of these work out in a generic sense, like not killing that guy for no reason, or not ruining those paintings because you're too lazy to clean them, or not killing the other guy for no reason. But the problems show up when things get murky. Do you kill the girl trapped in the cage, or free her? Both actions directly lead to someone dying. Both actions ultimately do nothing. The good option of not killing the girl reinstates a ruler who is insane and actively tortures and murders the people her kingdom kidnaps for petty pleasures and to fulfill some weird religious stuff. Neither option is the good option outside of the most basic shallow understanding of ethics and morality. Another iffy choice is when you have the option to kill a random soldier, and if you do that you get in trouble. Now I get what they're trying to attempt to convey here with you didn't have to kill them, so why did you? But you do not know how profoundly naive that is. The childish argument of you hiding a Jewish child from Nazis and then asking the question, is it immoral to lie to those Nazis, as if that debunks absolutism somehow, attempts to do the very same thing. The correct answer is, you kill that fucking monster. But Josh, they're just following orders. And that's what creates fascism. If even a minority resisted, then it wouldn't exist. If you don't believe me, then answer this question. Who had the higher survival rate? The Jews that allowed themselves to be rounded up, or those that resisted the Nazi invasion? Here's a little hint. It's harder to kill people that defend themselves than those that don't. It's a cheesy line, but it's actually on point. Evil men are not the problem. The people that see evil and do nothing are the problem. I understand the mindset you're trying to get across, but weakening an evil and destructive system is an inherently good thing as it reduces the bad that it can do. There is one last instance, and though I do believe the last two samples are pretty clear, people do argue about that. The one with the bird is a little tasteless. So the bird betrays the people of this town and they get slaughtered. He gets hit in crossfire and hides out and starts to bleed out. You find him and you're given the moral dilemma as to whether to tell the survivors where he is, and the good option is to not say anything at all. Again, I know what is being conveyed, but the cultural implications here are not that great. In quite a lot of cultures, betrayal is something you don't do. It can often rank up with rape and murder, and in certain cultures it's worse as loyalty is a keystone to the societal values, and punishing betrayal in cultures like this tend to also be very important. So I get that you think needless violence is bad, but people getting revenge because someone took advantage of the kindness of a community, and that caused the loved ones of the survivors to be brutally slaughtered in their sleep or after being paralyzed, is not really that bad in the grand scheme of things. Yes, he was already dead, but what he did was so bad that even the torture they would have inflicted on him wouldn't have been enough to justify you going to the underworld for tattling. I like this game, quite a bit. But the better something is, the more obvious the flaws are, and the discussion being presented was handled poorly, either because they thought not to push the ethical boundaries, which is sad given the content of the game, or because they're not capable of presenting an agreeable message, either due to incompetence or lack of knowledge. Either way, still love the shit out of this game. But that's because I need that Geiger dick in my mouth bad, you dirty whore. Period.